Hi guys, second video I wanted to bring you today. I'm going to try and get this one uploaded for you today as well, so you've got them both to look at. The second review I want to do is on HMS Tiger, another 1600 scale warship on Airfix. We'll go through the kit first. The one I'm reviewing is this one here. This is another 2-kit rendition. I wasn't going to review HMS Daring on this particular video because I want to try and keep the models separate so that if people want a review on HMS Daring, they can do a search for Daring and not have to waste listening to Tiger. But this is HMS Tiger, Royal Naval ship, 1/600 scale from Airfix. We just open the box and we'll have a look at the instruction leaflet first. The instruction leaflet obviously for this kit covers Daring as well. This is actually a photocopy because when I bought this kit the original plans weren't there and I had to get them photocopied, but basically you can see how it works. The instructions are set in 7 steps. Step 1 comprising the hull, stands, deck and major superstructure. Section 2 and 3 comprise the forward guns and the bridge detail. Section 4 comprise the forward mast with a couple of lifeboats. Section 5 is the crane jib in the midships and all the lifeboats at midships around the funnel stacks there. Section 6 is the rear mast and secondary guns. And section 7 to finish off is the propeller shafts, rudder, the rear flagpole and Y turret, or is that X turret? Not quite sure 100%. You do get a decal sheet with this kit, which is basically, obviously with this kit you'll get 2, but the decals for this kit are C20, which is the ship's serial number. And those are applied to the ship's rear stern and the sides of the hull. And I'll just quickly take you through the parts. Which, yeah, not so many on this kit. Not so many at all. We'll just take us through this very quickly. I haven't touched Tiger at all. So this is basically an in-box review. Open from the box. The box is a bit tattered, as you can see. I think the box has probably had the box is in worse condition than the ship was when she was scrapped. Yeah, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws. 3 of the screws are the hull sides and the deck. And I've got quite a few loose parts in here, which are parts that have come off the screws. But basically you've got your general Airfix stands, like normal. These, by the way, are interesting because they come in handy when you're building the kit, because Airfix warships without these stands tend to fall over on their side all the time, so you're forever picking them up. Whereas if you mount them on the stands during construction, it makes it easier just to have somewhere to put the damn thing when you're trying to build it. So the first 2 screws are the port and starboard hull halves. It's interesting and worthy of note to note that Royal Naval ships that were built during the 40s and 50s tended to have a lot less cluttered decks. So the detail on this kit is not going to be as good as what it was on, say, some of their wartime ships. And also this ship, which is actually she's what I would class as a medium weight cruiser. She's actually classed as a light cruiser. She's quite long, but not as long as some of the wartime cruisers. Quite nicely detailed portholes, and the ship itself, the hull sides are quite crisp. There's no real issues with abnormalities of the plastic moulding, which is quite good. I'm quite pleased about that. So the deck itself, this is the third sprue. You're going to have to take care when you take the sprue, when you take this deck off the sprue, because you're going to have to cut that bit, otherwise you're going to get a large clump hole in the side of the deck here. I don't know if you can see there, but that's Airfix's original stamp mark for this model. Tiger was originally released as a model in 1960 on a Type 2 box, and then it went through renditions of Type 3 red stripe box in 1963, and then 1973, and then it went into the 2 kit packaging like this with HMS Daring in the 1990s. So this kit is actually quite old. Originally produced in 1960, so the mould is actually 47 years old. And I'll be honest with you, it's quite crisp. There's quite a bit of flashing going on here with what you call injection mould marks, but they are on the underside of the hull and not on the top, which is actually quite good. There is a little bit of a pressure mark there, which, to be honest with you, when you've got paint on the top of the kit, it's not going to matter. So yeah, that's that done. Sprue 4, tiny props there. Can you see the tiny props and the anchors? Superstructure all laid out. It's quite crisp. There's no sinkholes. Quite crisp mouldings. When you think that these moulds are nearly 50 years old, they've stood the test of time. Even the bridge windows and portholes in the forward part of the superstructure, they're quite visible. And you'll have fun painting them, but they're worth doing. Again, there's no sinkholes with the issue that you normally get with Airfix warships, but there are a couple with the turrets, that is, but there are a couple on the secondary gun mountings. Can you see them? There's a sinkhole there. Can you see the sinkhole there? There's a sinkhole there and a sinkhole there on the top of the general purpose guns, and they will probably require some filler. Small davits and boats on there, and the 5th sprue, which comprises quite a lot of the masts and quite a lot of the what we call the birdcage masts arrangement, and crane jibs and radar bits and bobs and whatnot. This kit is actually missing its rudder, which is a problem because getting parts out of Airfix for kits this age is a nightmare. It's virtually impossible. So, the detail on the kit itself, in my opinion, is satisfactory when you consider that a lot of ships of this era weren't particularly cluttered in terms of what was on their decks. They were quite clean. The mouldings on the kit are very good, and the issues that I have with this particular kit are few and far between. There are a few bits and bobs which are loose, mainly gun barrels and funnel stacks. There's a couple of guns and a couple of lifeboats loose, but all the parts are there, apart from, as I said, the rudder. I'm not going to be able to get a replacement for that either. But a rudder is something that you could probably fabricate, isn't it? So at the end of the day, nothing too much of a problem there. The other bag sprues are for HMS Daring, which I'll do another video at a later date for that. So this kit is of their 1990s issuing, which was a 2 model set comprising HMS Daring, which was a 1940s, 50s destroyer. A little bit of technical information. The Airfix HMS Tiger was moulded in 1/600th scale, and its release date was 1960. The kit measures 11 centimetres long, it's 2.5 centimetres high approximately, and about 1.5 centimetres across her beam. That's not true actually, it's 11, I'm sure it's 11 inches. I think I've got that issue wrong. Anyway, she comprises 74 grey plastic parts on 5 sprues, and the model that Airfix build is of her pre-1968 refit. The kit is actually of the pre-refit state, serving between 1950s and 1968. And in 68 she went in for a major refit where she had a hangar and helicopter deck fitted to make her into a helicopter carrier and command cruiser. And that was completed in 1972. What's interesting and worthy of note is that Airfix isn't the only company to produce HMS Tiger. The model was also built by Frog in 1/415th scale, and that was originally released, I believe, in 1961, and that was of a pre-refit state as well. It was also later released in the year 2000-ish, 2001, by a company called Eastern Express, who re-released quite a lot of Frog models. And then it was later released in 2012 by a company called Arc Models. But of course, prior to Eastern Express buying the Frog model, it was also released by a company called Novo in Russia in 1978. But they're still not the only companies that make HMS Tiger. If you wanted to build a model of HMS Tiger with her post-refit state, which was completed in 1972, the kit is available in 1/700th scale, originally released by Matchbox, which was released in 1979, and then later re-released in 1992 with a new box. And then later, when Matchbox was purchased by Revell, this kit is also available from 2012 as a release. But the interesting thing about the 1/700th scale versions from Matchbox and Revell is that they're waterline kits. They have no hole below the waterline, so they're quite good for dioramas and whatnot. The availability of the kits from Airfix they're getting a bit scarce now, to be honest with you. You can still pick them up from sites like eBay and Amazon, but they tend to ask around about 20 quid. I've seen them as much as 40 quid. The Frog Tiger is about 25. The Revell issue is about 12 to 20 depending on its age and availability. The Matchbox kit is between £15 and £25 depending on the age of the kit, and the Eastern Express and Art models usually retail even second hand for about £20. I haven't built the Revell or the Frog kit, but if the Matchbox, Revell or the Frog kit, but if anything is to go by previous models that I've built from these different companies, the original Matchbox releases were quite basic, but they were incredibly accurate. The Frog kits were slightly larger, but the accuracy tended to be a little bit not so good. I have built a Frog battleship and the accuracy on that wasn't too bad, the detail wasn't too bad, but she was a bit funny looking in her beam. I wasn't sure if she was actually correct there. As I said, you can actually pick this kit up in a Type 2 box when she was released in 1960, and that box looks like that. This would be very expensive, probably ranging in the, I would thought, easily £25 mark. And then you had the Red Stripe kit going through to the 70s, and then this rendition, which was released in about 1990-91. The Arc model is in that form. You can usually get that available now, but it is, as I said, the old Frog kit, so flash and detail is not going to be very good, and its detail and accuracy is also maybe an issue. Eastern Express, that's the model box style for that. It's marked a battleship, but it's actually a cruiser. And also the Frog kit, the original rendition of the Frog kit, which was released in 1971, was like that. And 1961, and the 1970 release was in a newer box like this. And the Matchbox kit, 1979 issue, That's over their hangar deck and the rear end, which accommodated helicopters. She also had raised funnels. The funnels had to be raised to clear the smoke above the hangar deck, and she could carry up to 3 Sea King helicopters, I believe. That was the Matchbox early rendition. The second re-release was in the re-release box. That was in the 1990s. And the present release, available from Revell, is in a box like that. But it is, as I said, the old Matchbox kit. So it will be basic, but it will be accurate. And the Matchbox kits tended to be a bit lackluster in detail on their decks, but they were quite accurate and they made up a nice easy build. Matchbox tended to like to make their kits quite easy to build for the younger generation. Also worthy to note is the Matchbox kits also tended to be in 2 colours. They usually were light grey and dark grey, or maybe a marine blue colour. And again, this was so that the younger generation didn't have to paint them. A nice feature of Matchbox, that was. So that's HMS Tiger from Airfix. Overall opinions, I think she's a reasonably well presented kit. The parts are quite crisp. They're flash free, which when you think the mould is only 50 years old, that's incredible. It looks easy and relatively quick to build. I don't foresee any serious issues other than their secondary gun turrets, which will probably need filler on the top. But apart from that, not so good on value for money as some of the other Airfix kits, because this kit is, as I said, quite scarce to get now. But in my opinion, a nice addition to a collection of warships if you want to collect them, or if you're starting into this industry and starting like fresh modelers. This kit, yeah, it would be a good option for a novice modeler to build. Not too much work involved and only 74 parts. So good luck hunting one though, because they're quite rare. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again. Bye bye.